All right, Bannock County Commissioners and the Board of Equalization is back in session. Since we're you're first this afternoon, Julie, I have a little script to read and then we'll get started. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right. The purpose of the board is to hear the assessment appeals and to ensure that all assessments are fair, equitable, and in accordance with Idaho state law. According to Idaho Code Section 63502, our role is confined strictly to assuring that the market value for assessment purposes of your property has been properly determined by the assessor. We are not here to discuss taxes. And under your role in the process, you as the taxpayer have the burden of proof when seeking to change your assessment. However, the standard of proof required is reasonable and achievable, and you need only to provide a preponderance of the evidence to sustain your burden of proof. What does a preponderance of evidence mean? It means that your evidence must make it more likely than not that your property's assessed value is incorrect. You don't need to prove your case beyond all reasonable doubt, just a shadow of a doubt. Evidence that helps create that preponderance of evidence is recent sales or comparables in your area, professional appraisals, evidence of property condition, damage, or limitations, documentation of factors that affect the market value, and or photographs that show property conditions. We are here to discuss facts, not opinions. This is a formal hearing, and we ask that all testimony be respectful, relevant, and based on factual information, not opinion. You will have 3 minutes. You'll have to be sworn in, and the assessor's team was already sworn in this morning, but you'll have to be sworn in. And you will then be given 3 minutes to present your case, and then the assessor will be given time for there. As a board, we may ask questions back and forth in there, go from that. After our decision, you will receive a letter outlining the decision, and if you so choose to appeal today's decision, you will have the option to do so either in district court or at the State Board of Appeals. Okay? With that, Nancy, will you go ahead and swear Julie in?
Stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that any testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and state your name and address, and then your time will begin.
Okay, Julie Anderson, 3730 Jason, Pocatello, Idaho, 83204. I live on 1/8 of an acre. 2 houses away from me is a 1 acre lot. Both are assessed at $60,000. So I could fit 10 of my houses in that lot. 2 blocks away, 0.42 acres, is assessed at $49,000. I have had an increase in assessed value of my home. I assumed I could manage at the time of the purchase because my house was assessed at $43,215, and right now it's at $228,968. There's a property at 1153 South 4th, land $26,000. 212 West Terry, land $24,701. 341 West Halliday, $16,949. I have assessed several properties much larger than mine, assessed much lower than mine. There's a 6 acres property here in Bannock County for $90,124. Bannock County Parcel Viewer no longer has the lot size available, so I'm just eyeballing it. But I did have some old figures, and I know that that property is correct. There's a property at 12215 North Rio Vista, a huge lot, maybe 12 acres, 104,551. There's 1509 South 4th, 33,750. 423 East Dunn, 19,051. Most of the properties in Chubbuck on large lots are assessed at $55,000. So the Greater Pocatello Realtors Association, for whatever reason, won't help with sales or comparables. So I'm relying on the Parcel Viewer, which I said they took away the lot size in there, so I don't know why that happened. So our resources are substantially limited, and I know the realtors will be fined $5,000 for helping. My house is now surrounded by low-income housing, trailer courts, sex offender housing, ill-built housing, Jasper Loop, just to name one that's pretty poor built. Unfortunately, Bannock County residents are charged 0.79% of the average effective property tax rates on these assessments. Ada County is at 0.59%. Thriving Bonneville County is at 0.59%. And I know that a house in Coeur d'Alene, $700,000 home, 25 acres, paid, and I'm going to get into the taxes a little bit, $2,034. I have submitted several properties to compare with mine. I hope you'll take them into consideration when making your decision on my assessment. And thank you. I don't know where your timer is.
Didn't go on.
So you're good.
Oh,
You crushed it.
good deal.
Whoops.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Assessor, any questions? Okay. Commissioners, any questions on?
Not yet.
Okay. Then Assessor, go ahead and whoever's in charge of this one, state your name and the 3 minutes begins.
So my name is Cammie. I'm a residential appraiser with the assessor's office. We have the subject property, 3730 Jason Avenue, built in 1920 with 1,300 square feet at 123 per square foot. 633 Swisher Road has 1,089 square feet. It was built in 1938 at 170 per square foot. We have on South Johnson, 1920 year built, 1,066 square feet at 203 per square foot. And then on Benton, we have a 1930 year built at 1,081 square feet at 195. So as far as her property with her improvement, her house and all the other things, it shows her value is in line with where it needs to be. I was able to pull up some allocated land in the near area as well. This is where these particular parcels have homes on them, and we have just valued out the land. We have hers at $9.87 per square foot. On DeWinter for a .26 parcel, we have $12.80 per square foot. On Conard, 0.19 acres, 14.41 per square foot, and then on Swisher, 0.09 acre at 16.86 per square foot. So even with just looking at her land, she's still in line with where she needs to be. As far as some of the things she did mention, a couple of things, some of the parcels were contiguous to others, which is not valued as a single acre. It's valued in comparison with the second one. There was a couple that are smaller than 0.1 square foot, and that is valued slightly different as well. And just taking those different things into consideration, I did not find anything from her list that was not in line with where it needed to be. And so I recommend that we uphold the value.
Okay. Commissioners? Questions?
What I have a hard time with is on your list, and you went to a lot of work. I appreciate that, going to that much work. Most of them, you're just valuing the land and not the land with the house, and which to me is very difficult. Land just is all over the place, and so with me, I struggle with some of the comparisons that I just feel like I didn't have enough information on there to go against some of the comparables that I'm seeing from the assessor's office. So those are some of mine. I don't know if I have, I guess that would be my question is, are you contesting the value of the land, or are you contesting the appraisal, the assessed value of all of it?
Both. And I
Okay.
do have a comparable. My immediate neighbor, hers is consistently, and I did write it on that one form,
Okay.
20 grand less than mine.
So you're picking that up off parcel viewers, you're picking it up off
Yep.
of assessed value, not necessarily market value?
Correct,
That
that's
has
all I
been
have
sold.
access to.
And I struggle with that a little bit, because according to the statutes and everything else, we are compelled to look, bless the state tax commission, we have to look at the market value, not necessarily what's on there, knowing that that will fluctuate from year to year depending on the parcel. So those are some of my issues that I have. So,
Okay, Commissioner?
I just look at the last 5 years, and the value right now is still less. It's $40,000 less than it was in 2022. And after a BOE, a couple of BOEs on it, this will be the third BOE in 5 years, it just ends up that you have to catch up somehow. And I don't think that this is a very large increase compared to what it was. Like I say, it was $40,000 more 3 years ago.
It actually went up $30,000.
Okay. I have a question for the assessor. A couple of them, actually, so.
Yes.
Number one, software-wise, why did we take lot sizes off of Parcel Viewer?
Well, we're looking into, I'm gonna tell you, we're looking into that, but unfortunately, some of them, like the older Pocatello town sites, even like in my own subdivision, those acreages and stuff were not available. So we need to look at those and see what's going on, and I do have, Heather and I have been missing each other, but I've been gonna call her and talk to her about it.
Okay. And so my follow-up question to that, and I do have a little bit of heartburn with her lot value, and because I look at her lot and her neighbor beside her, they're both at $60,000. And I understand why you apply that $60,000 across the neighborhood, so I don't have a problem with that. But my problem is, all the lots around her, to her point, are full-size lot, and hers is a half lot. So I would argue that her lot size should be reduced, the value of her land, because it is not as great as the ones immediately around her. So that is my argument.
Mine's an eighth of an acre.
Yeah, half a lot. If I'm looking at the parcel view, it looks like it's a half a lot.
So she is right on the cusp of where that breaking point is, of where we do lower them, because anything lower than 0.1, we do accommodate for that, and it does get lowered. So she is really close to that breaking point, but between that 0.1 and 0.5 is the next bracket that everyone's getting valued at 60,000.
So 0.5 or above 0.1 is,
Is considered, is the first breaking point, and then 0.5 is the next. So that's 0.4 acres that are all valued regardless of the size, same.
I struggle with that a little bit.
And that's throughout the county.
Yes.
My neighbor has a small lot, my other neighbor has a very large lot.
Mhm.
And they're valued at the same
The
price that
same.
mine is, that's in the middle.
Trying to find a spot for you.
You know, an acre, like I said, I could fit 10 of my houses.
Mhm.
10 of my
Mhm.
lots in her one. And we're paying the same amount. It's like I'm paying for a watermelon, but I'm getting a grape.
Well, and there's some of that just due to the nature of doing the overall, what's the right word, the overall assessment, mass appraisal, that's a little bit of what you get because of that. So,
There's a property up on the corner of Dolbeer and Stockman. And he owns all the way from Stockman up into the mountains. And he is not being assessed at hardly anything. Matter of fact, it doesn't even look like he pays taxes. And a
well,
lot of-
some of that might be the zone that he's in and how that's zoned.
I don't know if the parcel viewer isn't working for North Lower Road out south of town. But there's nothing on there. There's no land. There's no taxes. There's nothing on there. I
Which one
did
is that, Julie?
North Lower Road. Any house. Pick any house. Literally.
And that could be caused to a couple of different issues. We just need to look at that, because if it was a split, it might not be on there, so I need to look that up.
Well, and again, to go back to Commissioner Moser's point, or Commissioner Bullock's point about market value, I look at the market value of your house, and the assessor is under what the market value currently is, so I think they're not out of line with that.
Of my neighbor, my house is 1920, hers is 1940. They picked them up off South Fourth and moved them out south of town. So they're almost identical. But hers, like I said in that one statement, is consistently 20 grand lower than mine.
And your neighbor's 3722, Jason?
Yes.
Can you look at that real quick and confirm that? Because it is, on the parcel viewer I'm looking at, it's like 10,000 lower right now.
Can I address the
Please.
Lower Road?
Please.
Okay, that was involved in an annexation this year. So there are different parcel numbers that are involved in that. And that's why it's probably, I haven't gone on parcel viewer to look, but that whole area was involved in an annexation. So unless you're looking at the right information, and I need to verify it's correct on here, it's going to look like it's zero, but it's not. Because they definitely have a value, because I can show you that right here, that all the lower roads all have a value, but they've been given a new parcel number for 2025 because they were annexed.
When I called the assessor's office, now she can look up lot size, she said, but we can't. Is that correct?
Well, and that's what I asked her, is why it's not showing up, because I can't see that either, so.
So they can look up the lot size.
We can't. I mean, you can come in and look at the lot size too. She can come in and look at the plat, because this is a plat. Older plats like this do not have acreages on it. That didn't start till probably about, I don't know, probably 15 years ago or so, that we actually were able to get the surveyors to put the actual acreage on the plat lots. And so those are on there, but like this is an older one, so we don't have it on there. It's not even on our side. We would have to go to the plat and actually calculate it.
Okay.
And I apologize, I missed the address. What was the address of the one?
3722, Jason? And it, again, I'm looking at the parcel here, it looks to be identical, same size, square footage.
What's the parcel size, does it say?
Same. It doesn't have a parcel size, but the lot value is the same.
And hers is almost, it's 0.14, and the subject is 0.13. So they're pretty comparable there.
And again, just looking at square footage and rooms, they look,
And then,
I don't know how big the lots are at those new houses over on Jasper Loop. And I'm not sure if you want to look at that floor plan.
well, the lot size is gonna be fairly, or the assessment for the lot's gonna be pretty much the same all the way around.
Well, the one has 4,200, or 42,000. There in Jasper Lane. The lot is assessed at 42,000. But like I said, I don't know how
And that
big the
goes
lot
down
is.
to her statement of 0.1 compared to 0.14. And that's, I mean, they have a goal or a
range,
set margin that they follow.
Yeah. What do you see in Cammie?
so at the top of my head, it looks like the subject basement is finished, and her neighbor's is not all the way finished. We do have that the subject house was moved and had a whole new basement in 1975. And I'm not seeing any kind of account for something like that in the updates on
Okay.
the neighbor. But
So what's
other
it-
than that, it is.
What's the assessed value of the neighbor?
212.
For just the improvements, yes.
So when it has
For both.
all zeros as far as year-built rooms, is that, it sounds like the house doesn't exist? So let me give the address. 3940 Stockman.
Biggest problem that I have is we could probably do this all day comparing property,
Yeah.
land values, you know, we could probably pick and choose. Some of them will be higher, some of them will be lower. I think for the general assessed value, comparatively with the land, which is going to be somewhat equal or at least comparable throughout the county, I just don't see. It looks to me like they're within that range that they probably should be, especially based on market value increasing over the last 2 years. So I really do struggle with trying to piece a property here, a property there, because then you could always find, like say, somebody's moved, they got a new basement versus they have more square foot finished, a detached. This has a detached building. I just don't see, and I appreciate all of this, but it's almost overwhelming to me to try to compare land values. You could probably go and pick land values clear out through the city and verify something else. So I don't know. I'm
Well,
struggling with that.
I agree, and based on the information she submitted, I thought the biggest chance of making a change would be in the land value, and the assessor has answered that, and so to Commissioner Moser's point, we're within the tolerance level there, so I'd make the motion that on parcel RP PSP 000200 that we uphold the assessed value. Any further discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. We upheld the assessor's value, and as we said, you will get a letter outlining this, and you can pursue, if you choose to appeal it, you can do it in the State Board of Appeals or at District Court. Thank you,
Thanks.
and great job. Your effort was fantastic. Appreciate that.
It's like an A for effort, right?
That's right.
You want a gold star? We got a couple of those left.
All right. Thank you, Julie.
You bet.
All right, the next one on the list would be Dales Incorporated. Parcel RPPOC 215600. The assessor's appraised value is $821,000 and some change, and the taxpayer's opinion of market value is $371,000 and some change. They did not submit any alternative evidence, so assessor, I will turn it over to you for your analysis.
Thank you. Jason Hooker, Assessor's Office. When we reviewed this is an office building over on 4th Street. And when we reviewed the property, it's one of those buildings that functionally it's serving as an office. Although, as we looked at it this year, I think we could make an argument that aesthetically it's not quite comparable to a lot of offices. It's a very plain front block building. We weren't able to get an interior inspection, and that can reveal differences that we may reclassify. But with the information that we had, we actually felt that we could probably better reclassify this as general commercial rather than general office, and that actually does change the value. On this particular one, that would actually lower the value to $527,485 with all of those reductions coming off of the improvement and the land staying the same. And that would actually be our recommendation to the board.
Okay, any questions on that?
I'd go ahead and make a motion on property RPRPPOC 215600 that we adjust per the recommendation of the assessor's office to 527,485 with the adjustment coming off the improvement.
Okay, we have motion. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next one is Go LLC, parcel RP CPP 142109. This one appears to be more of a question for the commission, as we denied their request for tax exempt status. Assessor, do you have any comments on that?
I mean, this is a parcel that has come before the board before in recent years, and just from an assessment standpoint, when we looked at that, that portion that we initially carved out that had been exempted in the past, we took the Greenway Trail as it passes through the land, and we gave a pretty generous buffer. We went 100 feet in each direction on either side of that. And that was the section that had been at one point exempted. As far as the appellants feel that this is undevelopable, it's listed. It's been listed for sale as prime industrial commercial land ready for development. That's the appellant's words. And so we can't find anything that really says that we can make any change on our end.
Okay.
And per the exemption status, if it was Greenway land owned by the Greenway, then we would exempt it. But it's not. And so, per state statute, because it's not Greenway ground and it's theirs, it is taxable.
Correct. Commissioner, do you have any thought? Do you have any?
You know, and I guess, I don't know what the solution there is, if they lease that ground to, you know, the Greenway, and they basically lost control of that, then I think we could.
Still according to statute.
Well, and I agree, but
It's theirs.
but statute sometimes can be waived, and I see the point there. He does, I do agree that the other property, maybe away from that, is marketable, and evidently it is on market, which says that they recognize that it could be developed. So I think I concur with that I see that, and we're not inhibiting any of that other. And if that's what the statute says, and I think that was the recommendation of our legal counsel, how I interpreted that, I don't know if there's too many other angles that we can grant an exception on that, so.
So, based on legal counsel and discussion with the assessor, I would move that we, on parcel RP CPP 142109, we uphold the assessed value. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
And deny tax exempt. I'd put that in there too.
Oh, and continue to deny the tax, or uphold the tax exemption denial. No, that's good. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
With that, we are adjourned for the day.
There
Oh, wait a
are
minute.
2 more properties in that from Go LLC.
I missed that, so thank you.
I thought they were comparisons.
I think
No,
they're
they
two different properties.
submitted 3 different parcel numbers.
Yeah, there they are.
Because I was looking down through that.
So that was 9.
There's-
Yeah,
Or
that's right. So the other property is RPCPP 158700. Anything you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, actually, we found an opportunity for an adjustment on that one. This was one of the pieces of land that was recently annexed into the city of Pocatello. And with those annexations, there's always the opportunity that when they get converted in our systems, that there could be a detail that can be improved. When we looked at this one, we noticed that after the annexation, it was not being considered as contiguous to the neighboring land. So when we reevaluated it from that standpoint, that would actually lower the land value on this parcel to $54,500 And that would be our recommendation to the board.
So you agree with the taxpayer on that one?
Yes.
Okay.
So what, because I'm not looking at the exact one, what was the assessed value and what is the recommended tax value?
It went from 122,060 to 54,500.
Okay. And mostly because of the
When it was
annexed into the
annexed,
city.
so the neighboring land adjacent to it, it's commonly referred to as the landing strip. It's where all the billboards are along the interstate.
Okay.
That larger piece didn't get annexed. And so when this smaller annexed piece was put on a new land schedule and updated, it didn't take into account the neighboring land.
Okay.
And just for some more background for other properties that you may see, when we have a property owner that owns multiple pieces all adjacent to each other, we try to analyze those as one whole piece so that they can benefit from economy of scale. The more land you have, kind of the lower rate per square foot overall.
Okay. So we're looking at the 122,060 versus 54,500? Are we on the
Yes.
same page?
Yep.
I don't have a problem with that, if that's what you recommend.
Yes.
Is that a motion?
With that, I will make the motion that parcel RPRPCPP 158700, that the assessed value be adjusted to 54,500.
Okay, we have a motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the last piece does not have a parcel number on it.
I do have a parcel number.
Do you have that? Will
It's
you
not
please
there.
read it?
RPRPCPP 157100.
Thank you. Okay, comment?
On this one, we took a look and it was a similar situation to the last one we just spoke about. Again, this is one of the pieces that was brought in and we were able to reanalyze that one. It was not as large of a change, but when we reanalyzed for the land itself, our suggestion would be to bring the land value down to $380,387. The improvement value we find to still be accurate. We've had discussions in the past with the appellant, and they feel that due to the condition of the home and their future desire to tear it down, that it doesn't have market value. And our opinion is if it is currently standing and being rented out, that kind of demonstrates it has market value. So our recommendation would be on the improvement, that the value stays there. And so if we were to lower the land, or if you were to lower the land, it would be a combined total of $519,523.
What'd you say the land was at? 380?
Yeah, 380, 387 would be our suggestion of the lowered value on the land.
Okay. Questions? Okay.
You know, and it, there again, is the property currently being rented?
Yes.
It's not boarded up,
Nope.
it's not full of other issues or whatever, so it is marketable. So, I think I concur with that recommendation.
Okay, so now on parcel RPRPCPP 142109, I would move that we accept the assessor's recommendation and,
That's the wrong person.
7100.
Yes, 710.
oh, sorry, what he said.
RPRPCPP 157100.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We accept the assessor's recommendation of value of $519,523 with the reduction coming off of the land. So the land value would be $380,387. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And with that, I would move that we exit the Board of Equalization. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And with that, we are